I'm going to start off my talk with a quick little live in-person poll from everybody in the crowd. How many of you guys got more than 6 hours of sleep last night? That's good. I did not. How many of you guys ate breakfast this morning? That's even better. Once again, I did not. How many of you guys think pineapple belongs on pizza? Everyone, please take a look around. These are the innovators of tomorrow. There you go. How many of you guys, at this moment, at this point in your lives, can say that you're happy, that you're content with where you are, and you take joy from the things happening around you? That's good to see, from a majority of the crowd. I'm 17 years old, and even though I'm very young, I'm rarely criticized. I have 2 loving parents, and I have a roof over my head. I get to go to school every day where I get a quality education. I don't have to worry about getting tied up or kidnapped. I don't have to share a room with my sister, and I am going to college, and I'll have the financial aid to do so. In fact, I think the only thing I actually have to worry about is accidentally poisoning myself after eating a peanut and dying because I don't know how to use my EpiPen. Yeah, that's bad. But in all seriousness, I have friends who care about me, and my life is stable. I'm happy. And I think that everybody deserves happiness. We all have our own preconceptions and notions of what happiness means to us as individuals, but I think once we obtain that happiness, then we will do everything in our power to protect it. We will set up emotional and mental, and maybe even physical barriers to keep us within this euphoric state of content. And I think happiness is the key to a fulfilling life. But I want you guys to take a step back and think, what happens when someone is robbed of their opportunity to be happy? What happens when someone is not free to pursue their identity? What happens when someone may have to come to terms with possible life everlasting unhappiness? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and asexual are just some of the sexual orientations and gender identities that people around the world, luckily for us, are progressively embracing and accepting and educating themselves about. People come out of the closet every day, and they're welcomed into a community of peace, into a community of pride, into a community of happiness. But I think that all of us know, unfortunately, this is not the case for many, many people around the world who live in communities or an environment where it is not socially or religiously acceptable to identify as anything other than their cisgender norms. The sentiment that men are men and women are women and men love only women and women love only men are very prevalent in these societies. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it does become a conflict of interest for people who don't exactly conform to those societal standards. Like Leticia Green, a 22-year-old transgender woman from Syracuse, New York, who was shot and killed because her assailant thought that she was gay. Local news outlets and media reported the story using her legal name, Moses Cannon. Or like Seaman August Provost, who was killed and his body burned while he was stationed at Camp Pendleton. Family and friends believe that he was murdered because he was an openly bisexual man in the military. Or like Carl Joseph Walker Hoover, who was an 11-year-old boy from Springfield, Massachusetts, who hung himself with an extension cord after being bullied all year by his peers and being called too feminine and gay. Or on June 12, 2016, when 53 people were injured and 49 were slaughtered at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida. Like all of us dread, these individuals became statistics. And I believe that sharing their stories with you now will allow you to fully comprehend the extreme extent of prejudice and violence that people of the LGBTQ community face on an everyday basis. But From the seemingly casual injustice of teenagers not being able to be themselves, to the loss of innocent lives, wherever your personal experience falls on that spectrum, you have to realize that we should all be fighting for the same things. We should all be fighting for acceptance and recognition and respect. Now, I felt that my call to change came last year when Donald Trump was elected president of the United States. And even though Trump's stances on a variety of ideas and topics were controversial, to say the least, I was taken back by Vice President Mike Pence's stance on conversion therapy. And for those of you who don't know what conversion therapy is, it is treatment that is introduced or sometimes forced upon individuals of the LGBTQIA community to when they are conditioned to conform to their cisgender roles in society. Now, I saw an injustice happening right before my eyes in the midst of history. The LGBT community was a prevalent topic in a presidential election, but they were being represented in such a negative light that a superior of a successful political party was actively against what this community stood for. But then, soon after, came the Women's March. And now we have the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, and we have Stoneman Douglas High School students planning walkouts across the nation and getting global attention. And that's when I realized, whatever class, creed, color, what you believe in, who you believe in, what you affiliate with, you have to acknowledge and believe in the power of people, in the power of congregation, and the power of individuals coming together under one unifying goal. And I knew that I needed to be the catalyst for the change that I wanted to see in society. And with that, after recruiting 6 other intelligent and business-savvy young women in my social justice class, we created the Happy Campaign. Now, the Happy Campaign is a year-long fundraising event for the San Francisco LGBT Center. We thought that through selling merchandise such as sweatshirts and shirts and clothes and buttons and hats and pins, we would raise enough money to donate to the organization and its services. But then it hit me. My confidence wavered a bit. I thought, was the country ready for what we were going to say? Hell, I didn't even think the school was ready, but we made that leap. We took that risk, and it paid off because we were pleasantly surprised. Within the first 3 months of the project's conception, we've raised $1,500. We're making connections to the Morgan Stanley branch in San Francisco and the Lavender Cow program at UC Berkeley. We're planning on making the campaign a legacy project for underclassmen. When they come into their senior year, they will continue to educate themselves and educate others about the LGBTQ community. But I think the impact of the campaign goes beyond T-shirts and fashionable clothing items. The impact of the campaign is so profound yet so simple. As we adorn ourselves with the campaign logo, with the LGBT flag plastered on the left side of our chest, we are saying that we are allies, that we are members of a community disenfranchised, of a community disrespected, of a community pushed aside, but pushed aside no longer. And I think that it's time for me to be pushed aside no longer. I have friends who love me and care about me, and a family who accepts me for who I am, and I am blessed beyond recognition. But I have not been honest with myself for a few years now, and I think it's the best time, now more than ever, to say confidently to you all for the first time, I am a bisexual woman. And And I believe that just like me, this campaign is destined to become more. It's destined to become more because I know that it is worth, and it is the purpose of this campaign goes beyond the T-shirts. The purpose of this campaign is to make more people prideful, to make more people confident, to make more people embrace themselves and others around them who may not be the same, to make more people genuinely and truly happy. Thank you.